And welcome back to another episode of Inboxing. I'm actually glad to see no one is watching because Lisa Jones has not yet shown up. But glad to talk about, if anyone out there wants to hear, like inboxing is becoming very exciting. I can tell you a little bit what we're playing the next few weeks. But yeah, I see no eyeballs yet, so I'll just keep talking to the air. Yeah, but I guess people will be watching the replay, so let me, I'll get right into it. Inboxing is an email marketing podcast that we record live here on Facebook and on Instagram. I'm sorry, not on Instagram. It's on Facebook. It's on YouTube, and we do email marketing. We record a live podcast. All right, Lisa has shown up. All right, we are ready to get going. All right, so let me give a quick intro. All right, so I'm going to start this again because no one was watching anyway. But all right, so welcome back to another episode of Inboxing. Inboxing is the email marketing podcast where we talk with industry leaders all about email strategy. We dive deep into e-commerce, all kinds of things, and it's a great ride. And tonight is going to be a fantastic ride. So I'm glad you joined us. Tonight's guest is a super special lady. She grew up in Alabama, and she's now working for a company which is basically bringing in billion-dollar industries and changing the landscape of the email marketing industry because video is not something we do in email. We send screenshots of video content and direct them to YouTube or direct them to our website. And we'll talk about that and her really fantastic and amazing journey. So I don't want to overhype it. And she's also a huge Rocky fan, and I have one question about that in there. But I think we already know the answer to that one. But anyway, without any further ado, please welcome Lisa Jones.
Hello.
Welcome to Inboxing.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, it's really a pleasure. It's really you're honoring us by showing up tonight. So I really, really appreciate you coming. Without any further ado, we had a great call. The pre-call was fantastic. We had a great time, and I was looking forward to tonight. So with that, let's jump right into it. So can you tell us about how it started? How you got from Montgomery, Alabama to NASA to VoIP, and then finally, iMail.
So with my background being from Montgomery, Alabama, I've always wanted to venture into different endeavors, things that would challenge my thought leadership, my intellect, my growth in so many different areas. So in college, I majored in logistics and procurement. And so my first career move actually was at NASA as a logistics specialist, maintaining for shuttle missions the inventory level of different parts for the shuttle. And I managed technical resources as well. So that's where my ability to manage technical teams came from. And then I decided after a few years that of being at NASA that I wanted to try something totally different. And I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and moved to the telecommunications industry for several years and rose up to be a corporate executive. Also working with women and diversity to find them contract opportunities at the telecom company. But I always knew within me that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, to set my own chart and my own course forward. So with that, I started iMail.
Okay. Well, why iMail? I mean, how did you come to? I mean, that's I think a follow-up question. But all right, we'll get there. Let's go to the next question, and we'll come back to it.
Sure.
So, what along the way, helped you build iMail?
iMail kind of found me instead of me finding it. I actually started iMail out of where my sister called me actually to advise me one summer morning that my mother had passed away at home alone in Alabama, in Montgomery, at the age of 61. And I remember the profound effect that profound effect of hearing that my mother had passed away alone at home. So when I went to the services for my mom, it was a graveside service. And I just remember that the entire experience lasted for 7 minutes. That's the way I recount it. And I remember as people were going back to their cars, I remember thinking to myself, is this what life comes down to, is 7 minutes? My mother gave her life, 3 daughters, term successful, and now it's down to 7 minutes. So my prayer to my mother, my last prayer to my mother then, was that when I go back to Atlanta, I want to start a company. I want it to be inspiring and a global brand. And it would be a legacy and a tribute to her, but to make up for those 7 minutes of time. Because we all have a message that needs to be heard. And I thought about communications. So when I came back to Atlanta, I was trying to figure out what type of business should I start? And I thought about how one communication changed my life. And so I said, you know what? I'll start a communications business. And then I said, well, how do we communicate? Verbally, nonverbal, in writing. I said, what else do we do? And I said, we email. Well, who do we email? Internal, external, any click, you're anywhere in the world, right? So when I signed up for 150 different email newsletters, I saw that they all had one thing in common. I did not feel special. I did not feel engaged to take that next step for a call to action. And I said, well, what if I could bring email to life? What if email could play video in the inbox experience? Would that be a game changer? And with that, iMail was born. So my mother was the catalyst of that, and honoring that commitment and thinking about something that could be a global product for anyone to use.
Okay. I think that just knocked off the next 2 questions, but I'm gonna go off script a little bit. I say, as I grew as a email marketing developer, like we knew, like you can't do, we felt the disconnect between us and the platforms like Yahoo's, and like they don't care about us. Like they'll make it hard on us. Like they'll change things like that, and then like our emails are broken. And if any email developers are listening, they'll probably be like nodding their head. Like, yeah, like Outlook makes it impossible. Like this week, I was working on an email for Outlook, and one of them, it looks great on every platform. Shout out to Litmus that I could see
Great.
all the different platforms. But the CEO of the company on his computer, it looks like totally messed up. And I know it's DPI scaling. He's looking at 175%, of trying all the tricks, going through all the articles. Nothing worked. In the end, we made it work. But how did you get buy-in from all these ESPs? They're not ESPs, all the mail clients. Actually, it's a question there. How did you get buy-in? How did you get started? Okay, we're going to build a platform that'll do video and email. Mm-hmm. How did you get that to work on every single platform? Or how did you make those relationships that you could, say, oh yeah, sure, we'll work with you. We'll make that work.
Sure. So in looking at iMail's journey, we actually the company was founded in 2004. So it's been a lot of years in the making, right? I mean, it's a whole process within itself of a lot of trial and error. And so I was able to find a development team. I had gone through 7 different teams. It did not work. And I was also faced with people asking, well, Lisa, why are you trying to add the video to the email? That's not going to work. It's not going to work. Why do we need that, et cetera, et cetera? But I'm one of these people that until something proves me wrong, and I am convinced of that, then I will stop. But aside from that, I'll keep going. So by the 8th team, we figured out the right algorithm, the right compression, so that when an iMail also delivers, it's only 15 kilobytes. We'll compress a 200, 300 meg file down to a 15 kilobyte size in terms of in its delivery. We were fortunate to work with Microsoft as part of their Women in Technology initiative, and they helped us on that technology roadmap that you're asking me about in terms of how we're able to deliver. And that was a key part of our journey, was that partnership with Microsoft. I'm
sure. They're the biggest culprit, with all the versions of Outlook that give us problems. But all right, we'll just keep on marching. All right, so yeah, what, like, all right, you kind of told us about, the story with your mom, and like, you already kind of answered this. Wonder if we could, like, I don't know, is there anything else you want to add to that, or like?
Oh, what drove you to build iMail? And another part to the story is when we think about all of these messages that deliver to our inbox, we're all inundated. It's just that drove me to create iMail as well, in terms of finding and creating a differentiator to stand out in the inbox. That was a driver because it drove me nuts seeing all of the clutter in my inbox as well. What about for you?
Oh, well, I didn't build iMail, but
Well, no, just in terms of the
as
clutter.
an email marketer, though, we're always looking to stand out in the inbox, whether it's like, and there are certain tools, I notably, and this came up early, in episode 3 with Jay Oram, with Kate, we talked about promotions tab, Gmail promotions tab, banners. I don't know, I'm not calling it by the right name, but Gmail has this functionality. And I understand from a call I had this week with Brian Sisolak of Peak Inbox that basically you could put a little bit of code in your email, which if you have a very engaged client, customer really, it'll float not in webmail, but on the phone, on the Gmail app, it'll float your email to the top and show your banner in the inbox, a color banner. You can put whatever you want.
Nice.
So that is, it's huge. I mean, I've done this for my clients who are relatively small businesses. And when it happens, it's like, they're in the industry. Let's say they're in the travel industry. Mm-hmm. So they're pitching to their small audience, and the travel emails will bubble up and go under one like headline. And you'll see like, kosher travelers and booking.com, like the biggest companies, Expedia, and kosher travelers next to each other. So that's really cool. But also, obviously, the whole science of writing good subject lines comes from that you're trying to stick out and get someone's attention and get that click. And then from that click, you're trying to drive that next click and keep the process going. But definitely, what you've done, and we'll get to that question, like what you've done, how big can this become? Let's go to this question. Like, can what you've done become a new web standard? Like, if you can get, does it matter anymore? Like, if I get it down to 15 kilobytes, it's like, I told you in the other one, it's like, I forget the name of that astronaut in Apollo 13, but, that he had to figure out how to make the LEM work on, on no power. So you didn't have enough power to get home. I mean, like, you got, a 200 megabyte file down to 15 kilobytes. That's like,
right.
It's not, it's mind blowing.
Yes. And that's just part of the growth. It took us, of course, time to get there with deliverability and everything. But in terms of your question of, can iMail technology become a new web standard? I think that for every email, there's an opportunity for an iMail. But the way that we've designed iMail is for when there are communications that are critical that you want to get out or that you want that attention to. Email is here to stay, no doubt about it. I love email. It's part of our industry, right? So email is here to stay. But when there's something that you want to send out to draw attention, or it's a product offering, then I do believe that video in email and iMail will be the industry standard. I just looked up, this is funny, I just looked up last night in the dictionary the definition for video and email. And one of those definitions said, where you click a image and then you go online and that you see, and I was like, wow, they need to update the dictionary here. And then I was bold. I even typed in iMail just to see if it would recognize what is iMail. It didn't pop up, but I predict in time shortly, you will see in the dictionary the word iMail.
Okay. Like, you think video and email will become known as an iMail? Like,
yes.
The way like search became known as Google. I'll Google it. I saw an iMail the other day.
Exactly. Did you receive the iMail? Right. Well, did you send out the iMail? Right. That's exactly what the vision is.
Well, does that mean
not for everything, not for every single thing that goes out, but in selected quantity. Absolutely. In any language, by the way, I should mention that an email could be in any language because it's a video and we're able to support that.
Well, that's amazing. You can't really get to how you did it, but yeah, I'm just wondering, like, even just the audio clip, to get an audio clip, you're talking about a 60-second audio clip. You ever just get an audio clip under 15 kilobytes? It's like, it's wizardry. It doesn't make sense.
Oh, that's funny. It's wizardry. I love it. Well, the way that we have it set up as well is that when the video delivers, it delivers to play on mute. We originally had it where it would play the video and the sound all in one as soon as you open it. And one of the things that Microsoft mentored us on is let Lisa and team, you don't want something that's going to be disruptive. Someone could be in a meeting or in an elevator, whatever the case may be, and you don't want content that's just starting to play. So what we did was dial it back a notch so that when it delivers, it plays on mute, and then you choose to click to engage the sound. But you could have 60 seconds or less.
No, it's interesting because, like you said, you started in 2004, and you can imagine 2004, like that was like a good idea, like play on load, like, and as like that developed, and like that's the standard now. Like you go on your Facebook, like video won't start playing with sound until you click it.
Exactly.
Start playing.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right.
You're ahead of them.
Thank you so much. And that's why now, so what I love about iMail's journey is that it has so many nuances. And so another nuance is we are a purpose-driven organization. And so we are passionate about supporting the visual and hearing impaired. As such, on an iMail, it may include closed captioning based on the client and what they need, of course. But the idea of closed captioning means that everything within email now is inclusive and accessible.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I mean, we talked about that a lot with Jay Orem. That was the last bull that are looking for it. We talked a lot about accessibility, which is like a trending topic in email marketing, because like now the way if people are custom coding an email, they're much more conscious now about how will this email sound by a screen reader, and all that kind of stuff. And we talked about even people being temporarily handicapped, like you're in a situation where you can't play the sound, and you're in an elevator, you want to see the video, you want to read the text, but you don't want to. So it's really amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what kind of lift are you seeing? I mean, how long have you been in business? I didn't even get to that. But I mean, you've been in business since 2004, but when did you actually launch the real product that people could use?
The real product launched in 2006.
Oh, really?
Time Warner, or TBS, one of their brands under Time Warner, was our very first enterprise client. Okay. And Time Warner made the introduction to Coca-Cola. It's so fascinating, really, and I love that. We're always looking for new adopters, the early adopters rather, that are willing to try something different, to see the result, that they enjoy the experimentation of it all, and to be the first. And so we were very fortunate to have these enterprise brands as our first clients.
Right. I mean, they want to be on the up and up, that people are seeing, like people will talk about that, like they got an email from Coca-Cola and it was a video playing in there.
Correct.
It's like, it's that, it's like magic, like I said, it's wizardry. It's like, you don't believe it. Like, what is going on here? You'll hold your phone and like.
It's another touch point. It's another touch point for them to see the brand, for sure. And so another aspect is yeah. And I mean, we are continuing to innovate. So we have a patent pending on iMail, that technology, but we're also now, it's scheduled to be released at the end of Q2, but it's for video in text messaging as well on a mass scale.
Wow.
Yes. So that the content, as soon as it delivers to your text message string, it will play on mute. No downloads, Still 15 kilobytes in size, but think about how many applications to send video directly to a mass market or to a small market for that matter, but just to have that ability. So that's what we
Right. Yeah, that's yeah, and that's what I expect. I mean, I got, like it started in the inbox, but it's going to be everywhere. That's what I'm thinking.
Right. So even today, it's in the inbox and it's in mobile as well today. But yeah, definitely in text messaging.
All right. What companies do you think have the most to gain using email?
Let's see. Let's think about that for a second. We see email as so diverse. So diverse. To answer that question, it's for any industry. I mean, from when we think about like entertainment clients that we have. I mean, it could be a sports brand for that matter. We've been in sports. We've been in luxury vehicle market as well as airlines. So it's so diverse. That's what we love. I mean, Coca-Cola, I mean, different ones. So it's good for anyone that has an important message to send out in the world, no matter the size of the company. That's the best answer. Nonprofits, in terms of fundraising, increasing donations and awareness, it's important. So there's so many different areas.
Right. And, where do you think video and email can be a bad idea?
Oh, wow. That's a unique question. I love that question. Where could it be a bad idea? You might have to help me on that. I'm thinking something political, maybe. I don't know. No, because if someone subscribed to that list, they want to receive the information on it. So I always say, well, something illegal and immoral is the first thing that comes to mind, of course. I mean, that's the first thing that's in my mind, but I was trying to think of a specific example. What do you think? Where would it be bad? That's a great question.
Oh, definitely, like, illegal, immoral. That would be the first, the first place I think everyone's thinking. And, and it reminds me a little bit about, I know, I've been to the, I forget what it's called. Like, it's like the Aerospace Museum in Long Island, New York. And there, like, they talk about how the Wright brothers, built, created the airplane. I think I don't remember. It's like 1890 or something. The first flight, at Kitty Hawk, and they were very hurt, like when they found out that when in World War I, when airplanes were being used en masse to bomb and fight wars, like it was, it hurt them personally. Like this, they didn't dream that that's where it would lead. So I'm kind of thinking in that vein, like, like, could we be in a world and we're already in a world where like we're inundated like with messaging and immoral, pornography is available everywhere, and it's even talked about even in mainstream media. So I wonder where this could end up, not necessarily in the most positive way.
Well, and that's what guidelines are set for sure, of what you choose to endorse or not. So if it's an email, it won't be in the illegal or immoral bucket of things. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Where do you, what are you hoping to take? Where are you hoping to take email in the next year or two? Like, what are your goals? Like, where do you see this going?
For email, what we see moving forward is just being able to help more companies, more organizations to get their message out worldwide. We're currently in Canada, Pakistan, India. I mean, we have several locations international. I continue to see mass adoption in those international markets, and also different industries, some additional industries to go in, like the insurance industry. We've done insurance, but in insurance, and one of my goals of life, I love the Walt Disney Company. I mean, we all have a big kid in us somewhere, and that would be a dream come true. To have the Walt Disney Company
for sure.
as a client.
Hey, you can imagine, getting a trailer in your inbox from Disney Plus. Like
exactly
that. Yeah, like you'll get that call now. Because we had this discussion.
That would be a wonderful surprise. Absolutely. Yeah. So I see that as well. And also, like we're talking about, from movies, even from a movie house being able to send out their trailers for their upcoming promos, or having the actor to even introduce the promo in a video piece, and then have the button to buy in the ticket or whatnot, whatever. Well, now we're inside, but just in general, I think it's so many wonderful aspects of what the future holds.
Right. Can you incorporate a button into the video? Like,
not into the video. It'd have to be in the
not
creative.
into the video. It'd be in the creative. It'd be around it.
Uh-huh.
Is that something you maybe would try to, the way like in a YouTube video you can like sort of add banners now? Would that be something that maybe you want to try to develop moving forward? Like,
it would be something interesting to develop moving forward on the roadmap for sure.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. We're always
especially at the end of a video. What happens? Actually, what happens at the end of a video? Does it start again in a loop, or does it stop?
It's the choice of the client.
The choice of the client. Okay. All right. Cool.
Uh-huh.
All right. What do you think is the biggest hurdle for iMail?
The biggest hurdle for iMail, I would say, is finding more of the early adopters. The early adopters that'll say, you know what, let's give it a shot. Let's try something new. Let's try something innovative. And let's develop metrics and benchmarks around the success. iMail is able to generate over 60% opens, as opposed to, let's say, industry standard for email is what you would say. I think it's 20%. On average, no more than 21% on average. And then click-throughs on average are under 5%. iMail historically has been able to deliver over 38% in click-throughs. So to answer your question, I would say to find more companies, more early adopters that want to be on the front end of innovation and delivering the best value for their customers in the email inbox. Let's maximize that experience.
All right. Going in a different direction. All right. So what do you think it is about Rocky that resonates with you so strongly?
Oh, Rocky is my all-time favorite. I'm just all giggles over here and smiles because the reason I love Rocky, so what Rocky stands for, and Sylvester Stallone for that matter, Rocky represents just going for it, going the distance, whatever that is in your life. It's okay to be the underdog sometimes, but just to know that it's within you to do whatever you want to do. And we all want a title shot at something. And I feel like iMail is in the ring, and it's still, the outcome long term is still to be determined, but it's enjoying the journey of that. And it's all of that hard work, no different than Rocky gulping down the eggs or going jogging at 3 a.m. I mean, we do that as entrepreneurs as well, but he just represents that you can do anything and to go for it. And don't worry about what other people think of you in a journey. Do your best every day. And he has a quote, I gotta say it for sure. He says also, of course, every day is not going to be sunshine and rainbows. And it's not about how hard you can hit, but how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. And that's how winning is done. Oh, I love that. I totally
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, it's that scene, in Rocky IV when Apollo's trainer is telling him, like, I've seen this guy get beat. Like, nobody's, and he kept, it's in Rocky II, actually. Yeah, I've seen this man get beat, like, and he just kept coming back.
Stay away from
him. And that's it. Right? He started in 2004, 8 development teams, finally, making it work.
Making it work for sure.
All right.
So that's why it resonates so much. It's a
for
lot.
Sure. I think that entire generation, like the first Rocky, I think it was 1976 or 78. And, they're still coming out actually. So I think a whole generation, I think a lot of us, for inspiration, we want to get we put on those montages to, get our blood going and, we're ready to.
And even in my home here right now, I told you I was a huge fan, not big, huge. I have a 6-foot cutout of Rocky, and he's standing in his boxers, his boxing, what do you call it? Boxing shorts?
Boxing shorts, I guess. Yeah. I know you're talking like the USA ones or?
Huh?
The USA ones?
Yes. Well, no, he has one They're the ones he won Rocky 1 actually. But
Oh, okay.
he has his hands up like this with red gloves. So this is what it says to me. No matter if I have a good day or a bad day, or let's say I might have had a horrible day and I had a cry or something, right? When I finish crying, no matter what I'm doing, and I look up at the 6 foot of Rocky just standing there with his posture, it says to me, Lisa, okay, you're done now. Are you ready? Are you ready for that next round? And I know that is like kind of weird in its own way, but I love it because it inspires me to keep going the journey and to get back up for another day.
All right. Final thoughts. I think we went through it all. I think, unless you want to keep talking, but yeah, I'll give you the floor and yeah, say your piece.
Well, final thoughts, I would say I appreciate you and your audience here so much for the opportunity to share about iMail and the innovation, and would love to hear about some of the initiatives that you all are working on to figure out how to collaborate and to partner. And we drive collectively for value for our customers, because that's where we're here. We're here to make a difference and to contribute and to give back. And I think we can all do that collectively. So thank you so much for having me on your session. This has been totally amazing.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for joining us and sharing your story and your personal journey. It's been really a pleasure. And we hope to be in touch, and we're going to release this probably towards the summer. But it's been a great ride. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right, and that's our show for tonight. Thank you all for joining, and hope you enjoyed this episode. If you are enjoying inboxing, please subscribe and rate and review on Apple Podcasts. And that's all for tonight. Have a good one.